Hey everybody, so welcome to this week's video. This week we're going to be focusing on footwork drills. Now, all these drills that I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to demonstrate them using this hoop that's here. But really you could take the hoop away, you could do it without anything on the floor at all. You can maybe give them a visual reference, maybe a bit of tape on the floor. Those of you that don't mind letting their students use their belts as a training tool, that way you could have some spare belts that you could do this with. But basically, anything that you can use as sort of like a visual reference on the floor that's not too big or bulky. Over lockdown, I did some drills like this similar, and I had them using things like teddies and cushions and stuff. Obviously, you don't really want that sort of thing in the training environment, but just using that as an example, that it doesn't have to be like a specialist piece of equipment for it. You can improvise as long as it's safe, and whatever it is, it's not going to be too heavy or too bulky so that I don't trip over it. Anyway, that said, I'm using a hoop, alright? Now these drills can be modified to use for different age ranges. Some of them are going to be just purely footwork drills, some of them are going to be footwork drills for kicks. Alright guys, so I've repositioned the camera, put it a bit higher, and I've switched it into wide angle mode as well, just so you can get a bit of a better view for what I'm doing. Now this first one is super dead simple. The basis of it is to have your students put one foot inside the hoop. Now you can play this as a game, so you can set it as a competition. Right? They've got their lead leg inside the hoop, and all you're doing is saying change. So that's when you say change, swap your feet round. Change, swap your feet round. Change, yeah, and you get the kids or the adults to change on command. Now another thing you can do, you can take this same drill and you can give them numbers, so you can have them running up and down the room. Maybe you roll the dice, they run down, they put the foot in, you roll the dice, it lands on 4, and they're just working on 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And there's different ways you can set this. You can set it so that the rule is they have to do a full switch each time, or you can set it so they can do like a step into it, so they go switch, switch, switch halfway, okay? Or you can set it so that they're doing halves all the time and finishing and landing in a full switch. It's up to you, it depends on your system and how you train your kicks and how you train your footwork. Okay, so for this next one, what we're going to do is we're going to have students standing, lead leg just in front of the hoop, okay? And all we're going to do is we're going to count it off. Explain it to them that they're going to move both feet at the same time. It's the easiest way for them to understand it. Okay, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can count it off like that, okay? Or you can let them do it as a full thing, so that maybe they're running down, or that if it's in front of them in lines, they take the command of go, and they go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, another thing you can do quite simply is just to add a change on it. Okay, so they go 1, 2, 3, 4, change, 1, 2, 3, 4, change. All right, and it's just getting them thinking about moving forwards, feet together, which again, system dependent. This could be a drill, obviously, to move into movement, to use as movement drill. If it's not something you've actively doing in your system, you can just use it more as an exercise. Okay, so for this next one, a variation on the one that we've just done. This time they're starting with the foot inside the hoop. All right, now the way that I like to describe this to my students is they're only allowed to have one foot inside the hoop at a time, okay? So you have to change, okay? But they're not allowed to go like this, feet together, okay? So they've got to swap. So they're not allowed to have the feet together in the middle there. And all I do is keep it simple, so you either say front or back. So you go front, back, change. Front, back, change. Okay, so now we're working on a different type of movement and footwork. So working on the side stepping, forwards and backwards, and obviously with the switching there as well. Okay, so now we're going to start adding some kicks in. So we're going to go back to the first one when we were going in. Okay, and all we're going to do is each time we get to the end, we're going to pop a kick on. Okay, so I'm here, I'm going to go in 1, I'm going to go in 2, I'm going to kick. Okay, so one more time. I'm going to go 1, 2, so in effect you're adding a 3. Kick. Yeah, go one more time. So I'm going to go 1, 2, kick. And then again onto the next one with the foot starting in, this time with the kick. This is one of my favourite ones to do. So the students are starting, foot inside, okay? And remembering the rule of you can't have two feet inside the hoop at the same time. All right, so we're going to do a side kick. Now what we're going to do is start and finish in this same position. All right, so I'm going to go step in, kick, and back out. Yeah, so you're not allowed to put your foot down at the front. So I'm in, back out, in, back out. So I'll do it on the side so you can see. So I'm here, I'm in, back out, in, back out. Now obviously you can play with this one, so you can have them step in and do a turning kick, have them step in and do a hook kick. You could change it to suit. You could have them step in and do a double, and back out. You know, you can keep changing and adding on and doing all sorts of cool stuff for this one. But the basics of it is, with one foot in the hoop, up and back out again. And then what you tag onto the end is completely up to you. And obviously, you can add some switching into that as well, loads of different things. Okay guys, so another one, the last one for today, that I'm going to show you, using a foot starting in. Okay, so this is using the rear leg. So, front foot in, I'm going to go back leg. I'm going to do a roundhouse or turning kick, depending on what you call it in your system. So kick comes through, lands at the front. As soon as it lands, step back out. Okay? Back leg comes through, kick, put it down, step back out. Kick, step back out. Kick, step back out. Okay? So it's just getting them into that habit, or not the habit, but practicing drilling. Kick goes in, boom, come back out again. So we're not landing in, landing flat. If you've got students that kick in, stay on the spot and don't consider moving around. This is just a fun little way of getting them to consider the stepping, because if they're lazy with their stepping, they'll kick the hoop across the floor. Obviously I've done this, gosh knows how many times over the years. So I've got kind of used to stepping the right height to not catch the hoop. But a lot of your younger students feel bad, but they're lazy with their footing and they'll be catching it and they're going all over the place. And keep that in mind actually from the point of view of hoops flying around everywhere. It's not too bad because obviously they're quite flat down to the ground, but it is worth thinking that if a hoop goes flying off, one of the younger kids goes running after it just as somebody else is kicking, you get the picture. So you probably want to reinforce that at the start before you're doing any of these drills. So one more time, I'm going to go kick, back out. Okay, then obviously you can put a cross, put another kick. It's limitless really, you know, you've got all loads of different rules, different things that you can play, all just from a very simple hoop.